for whatever reason, I love Buc-ees. Yeah. Like, great
Buc-ees
spot.
is great.
You can get real food. It's perfect for a road trip because you can go to the kitchen, get real food.
There's 7,000 gas pumps.
Yes, like all the drinks. I mean, you guys know Buc-ees. It's great. We have not stopped at a Buc-ees this year. And you know what? I don't think it's anybody's fault. We have the best bus drivers. We've got Billy and Kendra. They're great.
There's so many Buc-ees. They're only like in the Houston area.
We don't go by them.
Like further south, and there's a couple around. They're not.
No, they're not all over. We haven't gone everywhere yet. We haven't gone to Tulsa, and we haven't gone to Northwest Arkansas. So the jury's still out. But no, when we go down to Corpus, like when we hit Abilene, oh my goodness. I mean, it's Abilene to San Antonio. Like, I lose cell service for 4 hours. I mean, so it's no surprise there's no Buc-ees on the way. But that's been my one little gripe.
From the SodPod.com studios, telling stories from around our little piece of Texas.
Ooh, baby.
This is the Doghouse Podcast with Michael, Chase, and Seth.
Hello.
Talking all things baseball in the Yellow City.
It's episode 11 of the Doghouse Sports Talk Podcast on the SodPod.com. We're wrapping up our time with the voice of the Sod Poodles, Sam Levitt, from our session recorded at Sharky's Burrito Company. One TripAdvisor review says of Sharky's, the food was so fresh and the variety of choices for your burritos and salads was amazing. Fun atmosphere and outdoor seating. Yes, the outdoor seating is premium this time of year, especially for dinner. Sharky's, open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Grab a bite. On this episode, the guys get Sam to talk about some Saudis to watch, and we'll get to know Brad Zunica.
Before we kind of conclude, Sam, talk to us a little bit. Let's dive into the players just a bit more. Who has stood out in your head the most? Like, give your top 5 standouts this year. And let's just let's listen to what Sam has to say, being in and out with these guys on a daily basis, where you think they're going and what you've seen that's impressive. You alluded earlier to seeing Paddock last year, the year before, and you knew that guy had the stuff. He had the magic.
Yeah. And
then look what Paddock's done now. Who are 5 people that the listeners might need to look out for?
I'll go around the diamond. I think Luis Torrens is really impressive. I think this team is really lucky to have 2 really good defensive catchers in Rivas and Torrens. I mean, Torrens, number one, he can hit. He has power. Look, this is a guy, remember Luis Torrens, he was in the big leagues all of 2017.
Whole year.
And the reason for that was because they picked him in the Rule 5 draft, and, you got to keep those guys on that 40-man, on that big league roster, and they felt highly enough about him where, even maybe he was super young, and, maybe it was a little early for him, but the Padres felt strongly enough about him to keep him around. And then the next year they send him down to high A for the whole year. So he's an interesting case. This guy is the best defensive catcher in the league, from what I've seen. I haven't seen every team yet, but, I mean, he has an absolute cannon behind the plate. He blocks balls in the dirt as well as anybody. He can hit. He has power. To me, Luis Torrens is a really nice-looking player for a lot of reasons, especially as a catcher. Like, in today's game, you guys know, it's about defense. It's about hitting a little bit. I mean, the days of the power-hitting catcher are, right now, they're kind of on the wayside. It's not really that position anymore.
So not a whole lot left.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of them left.
So if you can hit a little bit and hit for average and play good defense and have a good arm like he does. I mean, he's throwing at guys at 50% right now, which is nuts.
Right, yeah.
So he's one behind the plate. I think Owen Miller has shown the last month or so what he is. I mean, keep in mind, Owen Miller was playing college baseball a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's pretty amazing when you consider the numbers he put up at low A last year at Fort Wayne. He basically skips high A, goes to the Texas League during the postseason last year with San Antonio. And now he starts the year at Double A. Got off to a slow start those first couple of weeks, but he's hitting over 300.
Two-run double today?
Yeah. He's a really good professional hitter. I think Owen Miller will be a big leaguer. I think they got to figure out a little bit where his position might be. And, is he a shortstop? Is he a second baseman? Does he fit somewhere else? But
Padres infield is pretty set, pretty stout.
And that too. But he's a professional hitter. I mean, the maturity of his approach. I mean, he goes to right field and center as well as anybody. I haven't looked at this number on FanGraphs recently, but as of a week ago, I mean, 60% of his hits went to center and right field. And I think 40% was to right field. So it shows you just by the numbers. I mean, he goes the opposite way as well as anybody on that lineup, and is just a really professional hitter, which I think is impressive for a guy who's less than a year into pro baseball.
Absolutely.
Castillo and Orozco, I mean, these Blue Jays, I call them the Blue Jays boys. Orozco, Castillo, and Olivares, they all in some way or another came over from the Blue Jays system. They've all been great. I mean, Orozco's been a shot in the arm. Castillo's been really good.
Was Castillo, did he come over in the Socrates Brito trade, was it something else?
Yeah, that was Orozco. So Castillo was signed as a free agent. But you look at his numbers last year at high A, Dunedin in the Blue Jays system, really, really good.
His dinger today landed on top of bar 352.
Yeah, has power.
It was crushed.
Yeah,
he's not a huge guy, but that ball was crushed.
Yeah, has power, hitting well over 300. I mean, he's been great. And Olivares, I think, has been the most, well, you could probably make a case for Olivares and Miller being the most consistent guy in the lineup over the last month. But Olivares, I mean, great player. I mean, he's hitting around 300. He hits homers. He steals bases. He plays good defense. I mean, I think day to day he's been the most consistent guy on that field every day. So Olivares has been obviously extremely impressive. I think Olivares has a real good shot to get to the big leagues. Hudson Potts is had an up and down first half. Look, he's shown flashes of what he can be. He has great power.
Still very young.
The guy's 20. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, again, he's another guy different than Miller, obviously, going and playing college baseball. But Potts is so young, and he's figuring things out here at Double-A. But he's a guy I know the Padres are super high on. You've seen the flashes of what he can be.
Absolutely.
So, Huddy, the ceiling is so high for Hudson Potts, no doubt.
Number 7, I think, on MLB Pipeline's 30 for the Padres.
Yeah, he's got all the potential in the world and has tremendous power. And you look at the numbers Potts put up at other levels. I mean, they were big. I mean, there's a reason he's at Double-A at 20. You don't get to Double-A at 20 if you don't show,
you're not producing.
Yeah, if you don't show things at other levels.
Well,
so
the size profile too. I mean, he's a big cat.
Oh yeah,
his bat's quick. I mean,
yeah,
you can tell he's going to put it together.
And you guys bring up an interesting point of, where these guys going to play in the big leagues for the Padres, because Machado's at third and Tatis is at short for hopefully years and years and years to come.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a reason Hudson Potts should go and you see him play second base. And you ask me about Padres directives. Well, that's a good example of stuff. I mean, not that I've had that specific conversation with Philip Wellman, but from my knowledge about how this stuff works, that's stuff that comes from San Diego, and they say, hey, we want Hudson Potts to play a little second. We want Owen Miller to play a little second. We want Edward Olivares to play in center a little bit.
Right.
They're thinking down the road, and it's interesting. It's all these guys know the reality of what the Padres have, and that. We'll see. I mean, their major league future may not be in the Padres system.
Right.
You see it all the time. These guys get traded, and they have every incentive in the world to, whether it's for the Padres or for another team, to create that value, in themselves. I mean, the outfielders, I said Orozco, Buddy Reed obviously got off to the great start, has struggled a little bit. But Buddy he's as athletic as they come.
He's played every sport under the sun.
Yeah, he can run. He has power. He plays good defense. He's a
lacrosse.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
tremendous story and tremendous athlete. Yeah. I mean, so look,
that's true athlete. Right?
I don't even know how you score a goal in lacrosse. No. I don't even know what the thing you use in lacrosse is. That a stick? Okay, a stick.
Yeah, you cradle it. That's East Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy is as athletic as anybody. Look, I don't think it's any secret to Buddy. What he's lacked early on this season is just hitting for average and being consistent at the plate. But look, Buddy put up great numbers last year. He stole a ton of bases.
Quick.
My expectation is Buddy's gonna get that average up, and he's gonna be more consistent, because when he is, we saw it that first week at Hodgetown. When he's going right, I mean, Buddy is as exciting as any player on the field.
Reminds me of Lorenzo Cain.
Yeah.
Kind of those breakout years for Kansas City. The size, power, speed.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time judging arms. I don't see enough plays. Obviously, listen to the radio. I've only been to 7 games, so it's hard to judge people's arms. But I assume he.
Yeah, no, he's a good arm. No, but Buddy is so athletic. He's a great guy. Good personality. Good clubhouse guy. So, look, I would love to see Buddy again, by the way, that's the theme for all these guys. I mean, you talk about Potts, you talk about Reed, you talk about Miller, you talk about anybody. At Double-A, it's about you go from, being a really good player who's earned the shot at Double-A. It's the biggest jump in minor league baseball. It's considered widely for a reason. You make a big jump, and that's the big leagues. It's bringing it every day, and being consistent in your approach, in the way you go about your business. And you'll hear guys say that. And Buddy, Miller, Potts, I think they are all tremendously talented, tremendously capable of doing amazing things at the Double-A level and at the big league level one day. And look, Rome ain't built in a day. You got to figure it out, and that's what this is about. It's about development, and you're watching these guys develop.
So one more guy. What's the rundown on Zunica? That's a guy that's had obviously the hot start, hitting for a lot of power, manning down first base. But he's a big name that a lot of people in Amarillo talk about, and I feel like we don't cover him enough. He's gone a little cold recently, but what's your rundown on Zunica?
He did drop a bomb in the Lazy River in Frisco in the last series.
Yeah. He's had a couple of home runs over the last couple of weeks. Much like Buddy, he got off to that great start those first couple of weeks. Brad has tremendous power. There's no doubt about that. There's never been a doubt about that if you go back and look at his numbers at High A and what he's done in the past.
Big man.
Yeah, he's huge. I'll tell you what. Off Zunica for a second, we got some big dudes. I mean, we've got Zunica, we've got Darius Valdez. Have you seen Michel Baez, who pitched the other night and made his debut of the year? I mean,
large. He's large as well.
Yeah, I mean, these guys. It's funny. I remember looking at Valdez. We were at McDonald's, first trip of the year. We stopped. This good story. Okay, we're stopped at McDonald's. Okay, well, I'll get to that in a second. The Buc-ees thing in a second. So we stop at McDonald's, and it had been so hectic those first couple of days before we left for Corpus Christi to start the year. I honestly, I hadn't spoken to a lot of the guys yet. Just been so crazy. And we get off the bus. We're at McDonald's, and yes, sometimes they do eat stuff like your options are limited on the road. And guess what? Sometimes eating, the grilled chicken sandwich at McDonald's is better than eating, a bag of mini Twix.
Oh,
So from the gas station. So. It's anyway, I'm getting off track. So I look up, I'm ordering on the little screen thing at McDonald's, and I look to my left and I see Valdez. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this guy is huge. We got big guys. Reed's big. Reed's a big, tall guy. Huddy's huge. I mean, but you know what? I feel like everybody's so big. I mean, they're athletes. I mean, these are athletes that will go on to make millions of dollars in the major leagues one day and be superstars. So I guess it's not all that surprising that they're that big.
And speaking of Brad Zunica, Michael caught up with him at Hodgetown after Tuesday night's home game.
Fans have wanted to know Brad Zunica, get to know your Sod Poodles a little bit better. Brad Zunica, tell us a little bit about how you got started in baseball at a young age and kind of what has transpired since you started playing baseball and where you're at now in Amarillo.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey to say the least. I think I started when I was probably 3 or 4, just kind of me and my dad out in the backyard. My dad loved baseball, and I kind of grew up with a baseball and a bat in my hand. So just being able to kind of ride out the journey and get to where I am now, it feels good, and I love what I do.
Tell us a little bit about being in the Padres organization and what that's meant to you since you've joined the Padres organization.
In 2015 they drafted me and gave me an opportunity that I loved and wanted since I was a young kid, as I said earlier. But it's good. I mean, I kind of know everybody now and kind of know what they expect out of me, and I think they know who I am as a person as well. And I think we have a good relationship.
Sarasota, Florida, right? Sarasota. So what's it like coming from Sarasota and being in the Texas League? We know y'all have got some extensive travel, some vast travel in the Texas League. Tell us a little bit about that travel and your experience traveling in the Texas League since you've been here.
The Texas League travel is a little different than anything I've experienced. It's good though. Like, we have a sleeper bus, so that makes trips a lot easier. The weather, it's not really. I mean, in Amarillo it's different, but in other parts of Texas it's kind of just like back home in the summertime. So I'm used to it. I know a lot of guys on the team kind of complain about the humidity and everything, but like I said, I'm used to it, so it doesn't really affect me.
So us Texas folk, we're big on barbecue. What does Brad Zunica like to eat?
My go-to is chicken parm. I'm a big Italian food guy, so anytime I get my hands on that, it's always a good time.
So we were talking just a little bit. Not a lot of time to explore in Amarillo, not a lot of time off. Is there anything in Amarillo that you're dying to see? If you've been to Powder Canyon, Cadillac Ranch, tell us a little bit about your experience in Amarillo, even though it's been short.
I have been to the Palo Duro Canyon. That was cool. Just kind of being able to get out and experience like the canyon itself. That was a good time. I went with Buddy Reed and Chris Baker, so we kind of made a day out of it. Then we went to the Golden Light Cafe. I think it's probably one of the best burgers that I've had, so it's a good experience too.
The oldest restaurant in Amarillo, Texas. So everyone, we're here with Brad Zunica, getting to know your Sod Poodles here in Hodgetown. Thank you for your time.
And that's all for episode 11 of the Doghouse Sports Talk Podcast. We'll be recording another session soon. We appreciate your feedback. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and join in the conversation on Amarillo's only fan-inspired podcast talking all things baseball in the Yellow City. The SodPod.com studios, telling stories from around our little piece of Texas.